Yeah, a few closing words for the night, ladies and gentlemen. I I just think it's amazing that we're all of a sudden talking about child sex trade, the sex trade business, and pornography, and children being injured and molested and harmed and hurt and murdered, and all of a sudden we're going after these top officials around the world for these sex trade rings that are set up. It's a fad, it's like a fad. It's like, what will we be talking about in June? What will be the June fad? Will it be the children still, or will it be something else? And we went from concentrating on Russia affecting the elections, and now we've gone to North Korea posturing for wartime. So what's next? Have any of you really stopped to think about all of this deeply, how this works? I've taken some time to think about how all of this works, and it's really kind of scary when you stop and think about the trends and the fads that happen here on Facebook. I can remember being on Facebook a long time. I can remember several fads, a few hundred to be exact, happening in spurts. It's just amazing how they come and go. And one wonders what makes that happen. How do they come and go like that in such perfect order? Is it by the news that we're fed? Is it the control that we're under by the New World Order? And speaking of control, I'm starting to think that we're all under control by this New World Order. I'm starting to really believe that we're all under control, being mind controlled by the New World Order. And it's not just the pharmaceuticals, it's not just the GMOs, it's not just the chemtrails and HARP and the nanoparticulates and all of these other things that you hear about that can penetrate the blood-brain barrier. It's all of the above and then some. Um, I think is at work here. I think if we really knew what was going on, I don't think we would be able to handle it. I think many people would be in a mental institution locked up, screaming like on one of those horror movies. I don't think we could handle it if we really honestly knew what was going on and how they were affecting our brains and our thought patterns and our memories and our attitudes. It's really, really amazing when you dig deep into the research that's being done now and the technology that's out there and the science that's out there. When you stop and think that these things could be perpetrated on the American public without us even knowing it, some of these mind control technologies can be perpetrated on us without us even being aware of it, is really horrifying. Um, I'm not even going to begin to try to describe what I think I know about these mysterious things that are happening in the atmosphere. But and these mysterious things that are happening with our medications that we take and our food that we eat and nanotechnology. Uh, we could go into Morgellons disease and a whole lot of other things with chemtrails, weather modification, geoengineering, Agenda 21. Um, all of these different things are very, very scary. Most people don't even like to talk about them. Most people have so much cognitive dissonance that they're clueless that they even exist, or they've put it so far out of their mind they just don't want to think about it ever again. But there's definitely something going on above and beyond what even I talk about on air and Glenn Sutphin when we're on. There's something much more mysterious, much more sinister going on than what we're talking about. And I'm going to keep digging and I'm going to keep researching and I'm going to keep talking about this subject. I may be so far gone that I'm not able to talk about it in the correct way. I may be so far gone, like you all, that I'm just unable to articulate a message about it that would make any sense at all. What's normal anymore? It's interesting that this child sex slave issue came to the forefront as Trump took office. This was almost like a diversion to me, even though I know it's a serious problem. I know it's a much more serious problem than what's even being advertised on the mainstream media and alternative media. But um, could it be a diversion? Could it all be just a diversion for the next step that they're getting ready to take with the American public? Could all of this be just a diversion? Is this why they let the cat out of the bag? Is this why they're allowing a few folks to be arrested? And when I say a few folks, yes, a few. There are millions and millions involved in the sex trade business and the pornography business and the sex for hire business and the child sex business. We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. Not even the tip, very tip top of the iceberg, period. For those of you that think hooray, 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 forget it. Forget it. Um, this is a much more devious, deep-seated problem than what we know about. And I study these things on a daily basis, and I can tell you it's not good. It's not pretty. Uh, it would stagger the minds of most of you if you knew how deep and how dangerous and how dark all of this really is. It would throw you off balance so far you couldn't stand up for a week. Um, but it just amazes me, the fads, the things we get turned on to. You know, I can remember back when it was chemtrails, 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 chemtrails. And then I can remember when it was UFOs, 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 UFOs. And then I can remember when just, just the different fads, if you look back on them. I know Glenn's on now. He can probably list these fads and put them on the show Sunday night or tomorrow night or whatever. It's just really scary. Really, really scary when you stop and think that we're doing all of these postings for what? Nothing is going to change. Absolutely nothing is going to change. Nothing will change. And what do you think you're doing by posting? Well, I guess you think what I think. I think I'm getting the news out, like Glenn thinks he's getting the news out. We're getting the news out. We're getting the information out from these second-hand and third-hand posts. No matter how closely you vet them or how closely you check them, you still can't be sure, and it's still not the real story. Never will be the real story. So why do we do it? Because we do it. That's why we do it, is because we do it. We are who we are, doing what we're doing. I just want to say so much. I just don't have the words anymore. I've run out of words. I really have. I've run out of words. You get to a point where you just run out of words. You run up against a brick wall. You've thought so much. You've researched so much. You've read so much. You've studied so much. You've seen so much. You've posted so much that you just get numb. You get numb and dumb. And your efforts seem fruitless. And our efforts are fruitless to a large degree. But I'm wondering here tonight, what will be the next fad? Maybe Glenn can tell us on the show tomorrow night what will be the next fad. Talk to y'all later.